Hi there, Stitchy friends. Hope you're all well. It's Rachel from Moonlight Stitches, and I thought I would come along and have a chat about a new project. I don't know how long this is going to last, because it's just sort of popped up into my head, and I was going through my sketchbook, which I've left downstairs. Have I? It's not under there. No, I've left it. But anyway, and then I had a little thought about what our new project could be. So I've got all kinds of manner of things going on in my head, and it was sort of like this was a kind of today's little thing was actually I might do something about memories, a wander down memory lane, or wander down memory, you know, anyway, whatever. And I started to, in a very, very rudimentary kind of way, draw out a little map of my childhood home, and that was 46 Park Drive, and we lived opposite a big park with a cricket pitch and some almshouses, and also, and I was sort of just trying to think, how far was I away from school? And I walked down the road to school, up to the top and then to the left, and the school was here. I used to go to the Brownies in the hut next to the Royal British Legion, and just things that I could remember about this time, just knowing quickly, you know, that kind of thing, the sweet shop, and writing down bits and bobs, the cricket pitch, which seemed to be like this holy grail of grass that we weren't allowed to stand on, but hey. And I've written down that in the Brownies I had a beret, and I really wanted a bobble hat like my friend Rachel. So you can see I've sort of had a little play with that, and then I kind of went down a whole rabbit hole of map drawing and stuff like that, and I thought, right, I'm going to find out a couple of books from one of my favourite authors, Sarah Midder. And what she does in her books is she kind of tends to work from a sort of odd perspective. She doesn't do it in like a 3D mostly. When she this is the wrong book, I was just going to look at this one. And her drawings of gardens are like the old maps and things that you used to get, sort of Elizabethan kind of times. They were like planted out. So she draws quite a bit of like this, which I then had a little play and did something along those lines, because you don't actually have to be any kind of artist to do this kind of thing. You know, this was literally across the road into the park, the greenhouses that were in the middle, and then I stylised out the veg beds and things. So that was another kind of memory. So, but what I like about Sarah is you don't have to be able to draw. So she's uses a lot of lettering, which is quite difficult in Stitch, but I'm just going to show you some. I put some some markers in, but I've not done a very good job of it. Right, there we go. She's used quite a lot of writing instead of drawing out pictures. So she's kind of gone round in a pattern in the outside, but then she's written things in like grapes, pears, plums. This is obviously a fruit garden. Caraway nuts, that kind of thing. And she uses word to illustrate, if you like. So she's using word to illustrate the sea. Here she's using word for the paths. So I think what I'm trying to say is even though you don't need to be an artist, you can make your work look really arty by just adding in plain and simple things like words and pattern, a basic pattern, and it can be very, very effective. So if you've not got this book, I could read this, look at this book for hours. So again, she's used really, really basic shapes, but very effectively. More words as a pattern. So what I'm trying to, I suppose, where I'm coming from and what I'm building up to doing or saying is, when I make my stitch patterns, or I don't really make patterns as such, I tend to try and think of things that are not difficult to do, and I'm not going to be artisty and take up a lot of stitch time. For instance, she's just done a bee, you know, and words, and again, I understand words are difficult if you're stitching, but we will get over that, and I'll show you later how to incorporate things that may not or may be useful. I like this one. Tea in the garden. To be taken at 4 if the sun does shine and the rain doesn't pour. Cucumber sandwiches sliced like a dream. Brown boiled eggs then. Cowslip cream. Strawberry ice and fresh. Lemonade. Pale china tea. All out in the shade. And if there's room, do not forsake at least one slice of homemade cake. I absolutely love that. So she's done her little tiered afternoon tea tray as a plant, and it's growing, and then she's placed everything on. So, you know, these, I like to have take lots of inspiration from these books, because again, we've got words, and I have fabric that has a lot of words on, and you can pick up these things by using the edges of fabric that have the lettering on, and the numbers and the name of the fabric, and these can all go in your work used like that. I was just going to show you one last thing. Let's have a little look at the back. Oh, Reggie. I tell you, isn't it? The moment I start filming. Again, I quite like this idea of, this one is quite, it is a little bit 3D, but I like this idea that she's flattened out the houses. She's flattened out the sort of the paths and the gates. It doesn't look 3D, so I like that idea. But anyway, here's like leaves, but imagine that as a dandelion or something, you know, with the words in. So just thought about my inspo kind of thing. Just bear with me, I'm just going to see what, I know exactly what Reggie's moaning about. He'll be locked in the room and Gertrude will be gatekeeping and not letting him out, so I'm just going to bear with while I go and sort them both out. Okay. He's such a nuisance. Well, I don't know who's a nuisance, him or her. So yeah. So incorporating words without actually having to stitch the word was my kind of thing that I was toying with and thinking, well, you know, for those people that are new to stitching a word is quite difficult. So I will show you what I mean by, I've just dragged out some examples of things with words. And so the edges of fabric, they might have words in. Don't have to mean anything. We call it the found word, don't we, in art. and you can write whole poems by found words. I've just brought this in because I bought it from Asda and just thought, I saw it in Asda and thought, oh, look, it's along the theme, isn't it? So that was my some of you might have seen me do photocopied the inside cover of a book that my mum had written in, and that's my mum's handwriting, but it didn't come out properly, so I might use a bit of that, you know, with love from Santa. Then you've got things like, I've got odd bolts of fabric that I found with word searching. This is Moda fabric. This has got bits of writing in. These are little, what do you call these? These little patches of fabric. I can't remember now. But you know, you don't have to be able to read it. Again, another bolt of fabric with lots of writing in. Then I found another bit that's got all sorts of stuff going on. You can just cut things out. Ribbon with lettering on. I wish I'd not taken that off now, because I feel like that might go all over. I found a bit of a fat quarter that's got writing down here, and it's also got you writing here. You've got a golden ticket. I don't know whether you know the story, my story of what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I always wanted to be Willy Wonka and make things out of sugar that you could eat, like roses and flowers out of sugar. And hey presto, I became a pastry chef. So the other thing I wanted to mention or bring in is things like things that have already been embroidered. And I have lots of things that I've picked up in charity shops that have got embroidery on. So you don't have to be fabulous at embroidering. These things can be cut out and used. So I'm getting a big old pile, aren't I? Again, these haven't got words in, but these are things that have been given to me that I will incorporate because they're going to be my colour scheme, that kind of thing. So I hope that sort of enlightens you into a bit of how my thought process goes along when I want to design something that is not necessarily as simple from the off. You know, to let's face it, to stitch that onto something, we're going to be quite pretty. I'll need very bright light and a lot of time and patience and fine thread. I probably wouldn't find it very enjoyable, simply because it would be too intensive for me. I like it to be a little bit more scrappy. I don't mind drawing it. It's just not going to be for me to sew it. So okay, as I said, I'm not sure how long this is going to take me or us, and it might be a month, it might be a few weeks, you know, we'll see how we go. But my initial thoughts are we'll do an accordion book. So I pulled out, first I thought, oh, I'll use some of my linen sheets up, but I'd already cut these up into smaller pieces, and I was going to do something along those lines. But then I thought, well, I've only got 4 pages, and I really would like more than 4 pages. So I'm thinking sort of 10, 8, 10, something like that. So out comes trusty old, what did we call them? The antimacassar. and I thought this will do actually, because I like that bit of lace on it, and I like it's a blank canvas. I could tea dye it, but I feel like that might be. So I'm just wondering, I don't want to make these too big. I don't want to make each page or each signature too big. So I found out one that I'd made in excuse me, made in paper, cotton rag paper, and I thought, well, that's more or less the kind of size I want to go for each page. Because initially one of my other thoughts was I was going to use this as and then stick it onto it, but I feel like it's not quite what I'm after. So I'm sort of thinking that kind of size for each signature, each page. And if I probably won't use that because it's not going to be long enough, but if I cut up, let's just give myself a bit of space. If I cut up along that one, cut that off there, and then do a width, and just have this the whole width. I'll just grab some scissors. I'm going to the Stitch Festival and I'm going to treat myself to a new pair of scissors for fabric, because these are not for me. So I'm going to cut that down. I might have to cut, I'll save that because I'll probably use that. It's got a bit of a split in it. Oh my goodness me. Oh, excuse me. Right, that's got a bit of a split in it, so I'm just going to come back up a bit. I've got lots of Gertrude's hair on this. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because I'm going to try and cut that off. Right. I'm only going to cut this here on here today, so then you can go away and oh dear me, sorry, I'm just going to get a quick sip of my drink. Oh. Yeah, then you can go away and source some bits and bobs of fabric and bits that you've got, and we can stitch along together, or sew along together. So that's what I'm going to do in a moment. I'm just going to tell you what else you will need. Right, so I'm more or less going to be using this. As I say, yours can be as big as you want or small as you want, or but mine are, let's find a ruler, a tape measure or a ruler, and I will tell you roughly how big they are. So in centimetres, they are about 6 centimetres by 9 centimetres. In inches, they're 2.5 inches by around 3.5 inches. So that's going to be my pages, and they might not be that kind of size. Well, that might be a bit bigger, look. So basically what you're going to need is you're going to find your colour scheme, or choose your colour scheme, what you want. So mine is going to be a bit of pink, some kind of pinks, which I've got. That's going to be my base fabric, some pinks. Then, because I've got quite a bit of blue going on, I feel like I'm going to find some blues out. I could probably use some of these. That's got words in as well, so I'll probably use a bit of that. And like I say, I've got this I shall cut. You're going to ask me what this is, and I'm going to find, let me see if I can find a right, it's Love Note by Leela Boutique. Spread a little love wherever you go. Somethingfabrics.com. Let's have a look. Moda. Oh, Moda Fabrics. So, and I did come across what the book was. It was by Louisa Alcott, the Little Women author. So I don't know what's in it, but I feel like it's a nice little book. Lots of nice wording on there. So yes, I'm going sort of pinks with blues. I'm really going to limit my colour palette, so I will limit my thread as well. So I'll find out some thread. So I'm sort of going to try and stick with the blues, the pinks. I might throw in a little bit of this greeny yellow, just because I might want some sort of gardeny kind of things. But bear in mind, I am going for a walk down memory lane, and at this point in time, in my head, and obviously those of you who have been around me a little while will know that I do tend to change my mind every now and then, so as I go along. So thread wise, I'm going to stick with what colours I'm going to get here. So I'm going to go and find some blues and some creams and some more pinkies, and probably a bit of green to go in it, because I do like how that's really cute, isn't it? Love that. It's a little couple of quid find in Asda. I think it was Asda. It was Asda. So yeah. So on that sort of a note, I am going to be doing this. I'll come back to this every week. So we'll just do one session of this each week. I won't be doing it daily, simply because I found that doing them daily was quite stressful, and people lost interest quite easily and quite quickly. I mean, I might be wrong, but you know, it's sort of the few days at the start was great, and then it sort of died off in the end. So I'm just sort of trying to find a happy medium for how my week of videos will kind of work, how my things will pan out. So this is going to be a weekly thing. I'm hoping that it will be on a Thursday evening. It'll be up and running, so you can get all your bits and bobs ready for the weekend. So, or you might have a shopping list. Try not to go out and buy anything. I have stacks and stacks of stuff. Hey, you two, pack it in. Sorry about that. I have stacks and stacks of stuff, so I can just, and I understand that not everybody's got that. Not everybody's got that. But what I will say is, if you're out and about at the weekend, pop in the charity shop. Go and have a look for men's shirts are perfect, because they will have pretty little buttons on, and you don't think that men's shirts will have, but they do. And they'll have especially where the collars are, there'll be tiny buttons that are sweet and yummy. And down the shirt front, they'll have their buttons attached, and sometimes they have a different colour on the inside of them, and the pattern will be ditzy, that kind of thing. And you can pick them up, and there's masses of fabric on them, and you can pick them up for about £1. So that's my top tip to you. Ladies' scarves, ties, silk ties from the charity shop. you can go in the charity shop and they'll have a great big bin full of ties, men's ties, and they'll be like 3 for 50p. And if you start sifting through, lots of them are silk. So, you know, use your local charity shop. Ask your friends for anything that's, you know, going. Have a little rummage around. I tend to go into, I walk around the village and people have put things out for the charity, pick up the charity. I go and knock on the door and say, can I have a quick look? Before they pick it up. So, you know, be cheeky. Don't be frightened to go and ask. So, on that note of me going rummaging in people's bins, oh dear, I'm going to leave you there. I just will want to say one thing though. I'm going to just mention, I even got an old lampshade that was on the side of the road, on the top of a skip, and look at that fabric. It's got the bits of rust in it. It's got some where it's been rouged. It's all crunched up. Oh, I love it. So, you know, find what you can, use what you can. Don't be frightened to pick up pieces of fabric that might be on the side of the road, or, you know, because often you'll see like an old fluorescent waistcoat jacket thing that's been fallen off the back of somebody's wagon or something. I get home, stick that through the washing machine, and then start to cut it up. In fact, there's a guy, a quilting guy, I can't remember his name, and he uses that fluorescent fabric a lot in his quilts, because he'll find it on the side of the road or whatever, and he will use that kind of thing in his quilts. I want to say, I think he's called the Full English or something like that. Somebody English, can't remember his first name. On Instagram, I think it's the Full English on Instagram. Have a little look. But yes, so happy stitching, everybody. If you've enjoyed my ramblings, please give me the thumbs up, and if you obviously want to subscribe, that would be wonderful. I really do love that. And I will see you again next time. Happy stitching. Ta-ta for now.